Hey everyone, welcome to my latest video. I really like template number 27 from Jess Crafts, and I'll put a link below to Jess's channel. I've grabbed a paper pad from my stash. This is Blue Blossom by Tonic Studios. They don't have this exact color palette available on their website, but they do have the same designs or something very similar, so I'll link to that in the description box below. The reason I haven't used template 27 so far is it does use very small sections of paper and it is directional. Whenever I've been making cards, I've always struggled to find a pattern or a piece that I could use to create these cards because anything cut down to 1/2 inch doesn't quite look right. Looking at this paper pad here, the standard stripes, the diamonds, the gingham pattern, the dots, and then the check style paper. These will all work perfectly with this design. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find myself a spare supply of embellishment, so some leftovers from a previous project, and however many of those I have in my little Ziploc is how many cards I'm going to make today. Let's see what we can find. So I managed to find some embellishments that I think would work for this card layout. I've basically found balloon animals. There are a few butterflies and a few dog balloon animals. These two were already colored. These ones here I actually colored using my Copic markers. For the blue, I just used B21 and B45. And then because every now and then I went out of the lines, I got my 0, which is the blender tool. Now I am not very good at Copic coloring, so I did not record this. Here's the strategy that I use. When I stamp a whole bunch of embellishments like this, I cut all the embellishments out so that they're just blank. Basically, I just have a whole ton of the shape. Then I cut a template, I put the template into my MISTI, line up my stamp, and then I stamp them all really quickly with black ink. What I have found when I do that, it's then very difficult to color in the little fussy pieces. I create myself a template with some tape on the back, and I just pop in one of the die cuts. This is just a bigger piece to control. So I can move this around, I can color. It just gives me something a bit more tangible than working with a tiny little piece. A bit of a tip if you use the same approach for die cutting first. I'll put a link to a video where I do the stamping first and then the coloring later. At this point, I have created 2 sets of the template. These are ready to go. These just need an embellishment and a sentiment on them. I used 1 piece of silver paper to mat all 8 of these. I've got 4 of the navy and 4 of the pink. I have 28 of these. There are 7 butterflies and 21 dog balloon animals. These will work on any of the pattern papers. If I pop this on here, the musky pink and the blue matches. Basically, they're similar tones to what's in the paper pad. The things are going to match relatively easily. And then the blue on blue looks really good. So in this video, I'm not going to use the full paper pad. I'm going to use the number of sheets that I need to use up my embellishments. Okay, so I've picked 5 extra pieces of paper and I'm going to create the rest of the background. I just wanted to spend a moment showing you how I do my mats, especially when I do mats for such small pieces. Traditionally what I would do is I would tape or glue the smaller pieces onto here and then I would trim it all down rather than cut the mats and then try and line up every single piece. I just find it way quicker. What I've done here though is I've said, okay, how much border do I want? And I'm chopping a strip so that I can essentially go through and just lay all of the pieces in the middle. And in the end, I will then just pop it back in my trimmer and just chop, 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 chop. I've got a link below to my trimmer and some of my other basic supplies if anyone's looking for any of those. I just find this way quicker than dealing with fiddly small mats and trying to line everything up. Because I know that I can do 2 pieces of pattern paper out of 1 piece of this silver, I would normally use tape runner if I was working with pattern paper. However, because these pieces are so small, I think that's going to be super fiddly. So I'm going to use my Barely Art glue and then see how that holds up. So when I was creating the first strip, I realized that I didn't need to put a border around one end of the bigger panels. If I start off each strip with 2 of those at the end, then I think that's helpful. I've chopped up all of my pattern paper and I've matted it all with the silver. What I'm doing now is I'm adding all of the panels to the card bases. I like to do things mass production style. I've put them in bundles and then I'm lining up the pieces for 3 cards at a time. Instead of using my liquid glue, I'm using my ATG. When I'm doing my tape runner for the small pieces, I'm trying to get it relatively centered. And for the bigger piece, I'm trying to do 1 down each edge and 1 in the middle. Now that I have these 3, I grab 3 card bases. To do this, I do it upside down. I do the first piece and then I line up these three, doing my best to have them straight. Don't really know till I turn it over. Okay, I've now attached all the pieces to the card bases, and I've managed to sort out the butterflies and the dogs, like the little balloon animals. I also sorted through my sentiment stash and tried to find some items that I think I could pair up. Rather than stamping out anything new or making something that's perfect and exactly the same and doing 28 really consistent cards, I'm really keen, and I know I say this a lot, but to use up what I have. I've got these little wooden hello, celebrate and smile etched blocks. I've also got some little celebrate stamps. These came from a Simon Says stamp set. I'll put a link in the description box below. I have 3 smiles and 2 hellos. I do have more hellos in my stash, but I've used the smiles, the hellos. I've got one little happy birthday, a celebrate, and a thank you. On this one here, I've done all of the butterflies, but I only had, well, some of the butterflies, but I only had 6 that I colored in the blue. So I have 2 of the dogs as well. In the middle, these ones are all the same. They're all the blue dogs. And then over here, I've got mainly dogs, but 1 butterfly. I decided not to partner up the pink on pink. So I've put that over with the navy. The 2 pink ones will come over here or with the celebrate sentiment. So I'm going to stick these all together and then I'll check back in. So I've now finished all of the cards. I made 28 in total. I used up all of my spare balloon animals that only 2 out of the 28 had been coloured. I was then able to use copic markers to match the pattern paper that I was using. I also managed to use extra sentiments and little bits and pieces that I had in my stash. I'm not so sure about these ones here with the little wooden elements. They just look a little bit tall to me. Either way, I think the cards turned out really cute, and I think Jess's template is a really nice one that's a little bit different to what I've used in the past. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've put a link to another one right here. Have a great day.